And so this is this expression that's guarded. But again, I comprehend for those that have new ears and are coming on and say, oh my gosh, right? My whole foundation of what I formed and deemed to be right and true is now in question. Well, again,
And we understand that.
We understand that.
Because
well, we comprehend that.
We comprehend that. We don't understand it.
Right.
We comprehend it. We understand it because we had to walk through it.
Right.
I mean,
absolutely.
You guys, I've said this many times and I'm going to say it again. Everything that you guys are having shook within you of the things that we're bringing forward was everything that had to be shaken within us. And we spent 8 years of this, and Regina knows we would have conversations with Regina and we would be talking about this stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, this is rattling everything and having check-ins with you. How are you doing? You know, like this is huge paradigm shift. Are you doing okay? No,
Actually,
I'm not doing okay.
Actually, I know they need to get rolling. Yeah, this is actually humorous. There was a point where I started questioning the narrative of the garden. And I remember this. You remember? This is really funny. But again, so because we need to put this in a format that, first of all, there's humor in this, but make no mistake, there's also veracity and love and the full expression of all the emotions within us. It will test our resolve in this. And this is why I find the beauty in it. I just chuckle now about what we had to go through. But I remember when it tested our perspective of the Hava Adam narrative. And I was going
Hava, aka Eve.
Eve and Adam. Okay. Yeah. So Hava and Adam. And I remember reading it and it started speaking to us in the way that, oh my gosh, it was like we're going back to the tree thing again, because it took us there right away. And I remember closing the book because it speaks to you right in a way, and it's showing us how to integrate this in more of awareness of who we are. And it scared me so much. I closed the book and it sat on the coffee table for 6 months and didn't open it again. I closed it, and I remember, what word did I say to Carrie? How did I present it to you? This is funny. How did I present it to you?
He said, I will not be tempted by Eve again.
Right.
He wasn't joking.
I wasn't joking.
Because at the time,
my narrative and perspective was limited of my current moment. And I couldn't see beyond that moment because that's the perspective that I had. I was programmed by a system to tell me what it was. And so I was fearful of it.
Gosh, because
I had to break those chains.
We've been programmed with all of that. And, the last thing that any of us want to do is
6 months.
Create another fall, something that would lock us down into something more than what we've already been busting through and fighting through. And so I understood it. I understood it. Although I will say that back in at that point, I still had a lot of my own shadow and I hadn't been healed yet. And so what happened? I took it very personal, like I was tempting him again and that he was making it personal to me. And I can laugh about it now, but it was not a laughable issue back then. It was very serious.
But again, when we see this, again, this is why I love the narrative of God, some assembly required, because the book is the book of instruction to assemble God. And when you're fully assembled, you're no longer in the need of the instructions. But again, look at the narrative of what's being performed right now. And look at the world. How long have we had this book for?
What do you mean?
Well, how long have we had the narrative for and the instructions to assemble God?
A long time.
Right.
I mean, whenever the printing press went forward is when the actual Bible started being.
My point is, I see such a deficit of deposition. I do not see position established. And this is where we are right now in the language of positioning ourselves as a deed of title through the progression of the deed of the word. And so because when we've accomplished what the narrative is as an instruction, you're no longer needing the word because you're resonating as the voice. The book goes away. You don't need to go into it to say, oh, it's this and this. It's already taught you what the teacher had to say in the way of the Navim, in the way of the prophets. You're now foreseeing yourself as an established foundation. You are now trusted to speak, but you only get there through the integration of humility, by trusting yourself, by seeing the worth in yourself. It's teaching us self-worth, by definition, glory, the weight of kavod. So anyways, I just didn't want to, I know you need to go.
No, it's okay. I want to make room for spontaneity too, because I don't want to have the agenda hold me back if there's something that is needing to come forward.
Well, it's very important that we see ourselves in the light of God assembled. It's very, this is what we're going into now in this new season. So again, we have compassion for those that and still hold tight. That's okay. But the season we're moving into is the season of letting go.